I'd like to talk to you for a moment about the sword I use in training historic European martial arts and the parts of the sword that you'll hear described in lessons or written about in the sources. So we have the blade, double-edged, edges are the same, it's a straight cruciform sword, and you have the grip. So the grip, we've got the cross, the handle, and the pommel. You will see different types and styles of pommels and crosses. Much of that is an aesthetic preference. Some just feels better in the hands. On the blade, a couple things you need to be familiar with when using the sword and reading is the upper half of the sword is considered the weak of the sword. The lower half is considered the strong. When you're holding the sword in Vom Tag, if you were to cut at your opponent, the edge that moves towards them with an Oberhau is called the long edge. The edge that's facing back would be the short edge, and you can launch attacks that use the long edge or the short edge. If I flipped the sword, what was the long edge is now the short edge, and vice versa. So it's dependent upon the orientation of the sword towards the opponent. So those are a few pieces of terminology you need to be familiar with. This particular sword is the Siggy Endurance Fetter, and I've trained with it for over a year now. It's an excellent sword. It has great balance and especially great flex, which makes training with very high intensity, especially in the thrust, possible. And as you can see, this sword has a great deal of thrust. And your training partners will thank you for that.